Okay, I'm pretty tired. I'm in Philadelphia for the Too Many Games convention, so I've been on the train for about a day, which means I haven't slept in about 36 hours. But nothing was gonna stop me from seeing the new James Bond movie. Yes, it's almost 3 hours long. Yes, I'm very, very tired. But the train got in early, so I'm seeing James Bond, damn it. Was it worth it? Hell yeah! What I love about this particular series of Bond movies is how you get to see an arc for this character over the course of 5 films, with a beginning, middle, and end. It's the last appearance of Daniel Craig as Bond, and in this you get to see a real send-off for an actor's last time playing the part. And Craig is great in this. This is a dude who has the charm and the skill of pulling off the one-liners like Connery. He's got the vulnerability of Lazenby, and the ice-cold demeanor of an assassin like Dalton. You have no idea how much it warmed my heart to see my favorite Bond film, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, get so much love in this movie, from some of the lines to the soundtrack. It's not just a love letter to Lazenby and On Her Majesty's Secret Service, but also to Bond in general, as the opening credits even have a nice nod to the credits from the first Bond film, Dr. No. This is a movie that's near 3 hours long, and I was thoroughly entertained by it. I sat there on no sleep, and the time really went by for me. I really didn't feel the length of the film. Early on, it sets a tone that really anything can happen in this. Pretty much any character that you know and love is at risk of not making it through it, which adds a level of urgency to the movie. Damn, I wish I could get into spoilers here, but I won't. There's a reveal a couple hours in, and it's not a death, but it was a surprise, and one where I was like, that makes things interesting, and I'm surprised this hasn't happened sooner. You get to see a much older, not quite rusty, but certainly out of the game Bond as he starts the movie in retirement. So it's a Bond that acknowledges the age he is and at what point in his life he's in. I liked seeing what happens with MI6 in a world where Bond is in retirement. The new character, played by Lashana Lynch, I really liked a lot. She was cool, badass, and could say a lot without saying anything, with a style that was kinda like Mayday, but as an MI6 agent. As for the villains of the movie, it's hit or miss. Christoph Waltz briefly returns as Blofeld, and I liked him in it, but couldn't tell if he was just bored or being subtle. He plays the part that's maybe more in line with Anthony Dawson's Blofeld if we actually saw him. There's a sidekick villain who has a bionic eye and they call him Cyclops, but since the movie is played fairly straight, that odd gimmick kinda makes him forgettable, since it's not a movie where he can go over the top like someone like Jaws. I've seen a lot of criticisms towards Rami Malek, and honestly, I didn't think he was bad. He's just kind of generic. He's a stock Bond villain, he's scarred, acts weird, speaks in a quiet, sinister voice, and comes across like this role would be great if he were a serial killer in a horror film. But here, I'll put it like this. This is a really bold James Bond movie. It takes risks. There's a lot of really important shit that happens in this that's not quite happened in the franchise before. And because of all of that, it really needed a villain that would be a top-tier Bond villain. And he's not. He's not one of the worst, but he'd have been more serviceable in one of the by-the-numbers Bond flicks. There's one dude, though, a Russian scientist who's so cartoony. He's less like a Cold War-era Bond villain, and more like a Russian agent you'd see on a sitcom. There's some messiness to the story, and it gets so complicated in the last act, I was having trouble putting together the villain's plot. I can see this movie being divisive, but for me, by the time it was over, I was a little teared up by the film. I didn't leave it mad. I left the movie relishing, and not just how much I love this character, but how important James Bond has been in my life and my upbringing, and same with millions of others who grew up with these movies. I was thinking about all the times my friends and I, or me and my parents, would just shoot the shit about our love for Bond movies, and how many times I would watch Goldfinger as a kid on our tape that we taped off of TBS in the mid-80s. I think that's the intent of the film, to really cherish the love that people have for this series. The movie may not land for you. It's not perfect, but I found a lot to really respect and admire about it. For a lot of the movie, I was in the B+ camp, because I won't say that I was thoroughly from beginning to end in love with it. since it is a by-the-numbers plot, but just on a personal and emotional level, and for some of the choices the movie made, I'll give it an A-. Okay, so Goldfinger was the first Bond movie I ever saw when I was super young. Tell us in the comments what yours was, and subscribe to our channel today, and click the notification bell. See you next time.